Greetings and welcome. Today I will review the album Dopesmoker by the band Sleep. I just recently discovered this album and got to listen to it, and I will say that I am very surprised by the music that I found here. The album is just one song. The version that I will review here has two songs: the title track, Dopesmoker, and a bonus track, Hot Lava Man. I'm gonna review the 2022 remastered version of this album, so let's get into the review. So this album was, the recording of this album and the creation took around 4 years between the band's previous album. I believe it was Sleep's Holy Mountain. Haven't listened to that, but I intend on. And after they made that album, they got full creative control, the band members, and they just went on to make this album. A single song, 1 hour long. It's an amazing idea for an album, and I absolutely loved it. But their record label did not like the album. They didn't want to release it as it is, so they tried many things to make the album more commercial, but that totally didn't work. So the band disbanded. They released like a bootleg called Jerusalem in the 1999, I believe. Some years later they released a version called Dopesmoker that was an hour long, but after that, like, it was around 10 years before they released the album in the way that they intended way back when. So this is the result. This is what they wanted to do, and I enjoyed this. So in 2012 they finally got to release the album in the actual way that they wanted to release it way back when, and well, this is the version that I'm listening to. The only difference is that I'm listening to the 2022 remastered edition, which I believe is probably the same. I haven't listened to those other versions, I only listened to this one, and I enjoyed it a lot. So that's the background of this album. Let's talk about the music itself. So this is most definitely one of the best albums I've ever listened. It's a one song, 1 hour long, and I absolutely love that type of experimental, different sort of music. This album could have been considered also progressive metal. People normally categorize it as stoner metal and doom metal, but in my eyes and my ears, this could have been like one of the best progressive metal albums of all time, if it were considered one. But as far as I'm aware, nobody considers it a progressive metal album, which is a shame. But well, for me, this is like a mixture of stoner metal, doom metal. This is actually the second stoner metal album I've ever listened. And well, as I was saying, this is a mixture of stoner metal, doom metal, and progressive metal, and for me it's just one of the best albums I've ever listened. Well, as I mentioned, this is not the first stoner metal I've ever listened, although I have never listened to Sleep's Holy Mountain. The other album that it only clicked in my mind that it was a stoner metal after I listened to this was Infest the Rat's Nest by King Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard. Someday I'm gonna make a ranking of all of their albums, more than 25 albums now. So when I listened to this, it really clicked in my mind. Oh, that album that I really enjoyed, one of my favorite King Gizzard albums, is actually a stoner metal album. I thought it was like a mixture of thrash metal with death metal, but now I see that it actually is a stoner metal. That was really interesting. So man, this album, well, 1 hour long song. This whole song, it flies. When I listen to this album, that whole hour flies by, and I don't even see the time passing. That's how good this album is. There's not even a second in this that I find boring. All the time I am entertained. Like, it takes 8 minutes for the first part of the lyrics to kick in, and those 8 minutes just fly by. I can't even see, I don't even notice the time passing when I'm listening to this. So that's how you can see that this album is really well crafted. The only issue with this album that I would say is the let's say subject matter. This album basically it's a tribute to to that magical plant called, well, weed. So yeah, the whole album's about that. It's like an alternate future where weed fused with Jewish culture and religion, and we're seeing the story of this caravan of weed priests walking in the desert, spreading their religion to other people, and I guess traveling to Jerusalem or something like that. So the only thing that I don't really like is this whole concept, because I'm not a stoner, alright? I don't use this sort of things. I did actually smoke twice, but it's been like months, and between cases it was like longer than a year. So I don't really like this concept, subject matter. I guess it's interesting, what will happen in the future if we were to fuse Jewish culture and religion with weed. And I know that when they wrote this album, they were really knee deep in the Bible, and they were reading a lot of it, or actually the Torah, the first part of that book. So I find that really interesting, actually. It's interesting, but I don't really like the subject matter. It could have been a better story, I guess. But, well, they were all stoners, so what else can I say? Also, the song Hot Lava Man is just as good as Dopesmoker. Well, Dopesmoker is 1 hour and 3 minutes. Hot Lava Man is 8 minutes. And they see it as the little brother of the bunch. If you listen to Hot Lava Man, just 8 minutes, it's like a short 8 minutes long. It's like a short version of the Dopesmoker track. And I really love the percussions and the drumming that happen in the latter part of the song, and also the bass. That whole part, the last 4 minutes of the song, it's very relaxing, actually, very slow, but I really enjoy it. And, well, I see this as a small version of the title track of this album. The title track also goes through a lot of phases. There's the first phase, the 1 minute to around 7 minutes, where it's more like the introduction. Then you have the first parts with the vocals and the singing. The beginning of the song is different to the middle, and is different to the end of the song. I really like that. And I know that when they wrote the song, it is actually split into multiple parts, like 15 parts, something like that they separated by the riffs. So that's also really nice. I know that they rewrote the song a whole bunch of times, because every time they went to the studio to rehearse, and then they went home and came back, it would be different, because they were like under the effects of the plant all the time, and they couldn't remember the song. I know that happened. That's a fun story. So yeah, still, what they did is amazing. Well, to close off, I would like to talk about the artwork. So this cover artwork, it makes me think of multiple things. It makes me think of Star Wars Tatooine, the desert planet with two suns. Is it 2 suns or 3? Whatever, 2 suns probably. It really, you can see that in this cover. You can see, like, in the background, 2 moons. That's really interesting. The artwork also reminds me a lot of Dune. And Dune, I really want to read Dune. It will be the next few books that I will buy. I watched the movie this week, actually. Last Saturday, not this week, last Saturday, I watched the movie again. And now I really want to read all the 6 books. So those are going to be the next books I will buy, definitely. So it's really great that this artwork reminds me of that. When I saw this artwork, I only wanted to listen to this album because of the 2012 version of the artwork. When I saw it, it instantly made me think of something like Dune, Star Wars, something like that. And when I discovered that the album was like 1 hour long song, it totally hooked me, and I just wanted to listen to it immediately. and so I did, and I am not disappointed. I really enjoyed. I was surprised actually to what they did in here, but I really enjoyed this whole album, and the artwork contributed to that a lot. When I'm listening to this, I'm thinking of Dune, I'm thinking of Star Wars, and well, the artwork also, you can see that it shows some sort of fictional future, where this new religion came into scene around weed and such. You know, if you look at the whole artwork, there's like a strange spaceship to the side, so that's really cool. And also it makes me think of a sci-fi version of Mad Max. You know, look at this, it's like Mad Max. Look at the artwork, it's like Mad Max, but imagine it more sci-fi. And in this movie, the 5th iteration of the main series, Max is gonna fight the weed caravan. Just think about that. Really stupid, but really fun. So those are my thoughts on the artwork and on the album. Well, to close off this video, leave in the comments what you think of this whole work, of this whole thing. Overall, as I said previously, one of the best albums I've ever listened. Definitely 100% one of the best albums I've ever listened, and I would highly recommend you to listen to this. It's a good piece of music. It was really interesting, and normally when I make these reviews, I listen to the album a whole bunch of times, make the review, and rarely ever come back to the album. Now, it's just a few instances where I come back to an album that I reviewed before, but with this one, I still intend on listening to this a whole bunch of times until I get bored. Now, these last 2 weeks, I listened to this album like 20 times, maybe. Definitely more than 15, but maybe not 20 times. So I still intend on listening to this many more times, because I really enjoyed this. What was that? That was so weird, god damn it. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. Leave in the comments your thoughts on this album. See you in the next video.